I'm about to tell you about a man who went from a nerdy kid from Brooklyn to one of history's most notorious predators.
Do you enjoy coercing minors into sex acts with you? Will you agree that you exchange money for sexual gratification with at least 50 girls at your Palm Beach mansion?
A man who, despite lacking formal credentials, managed to infiltrate the highest levels of power and wealth, dining with presidents, princes, and Nobel Prize winners. This same man orchestrated one of the largest child trafficking operations in modern history, while somehow evading serious consequences for decades. Jeffrey Epstein's death in 2019 left behind a web of questions. Questions that the people in power never wants you to ask. Today, we're going beyond the headlines and diving into the psychological profile of a monster who operated in plain sight. What was happening inside the mind of Jeffrey Epstein? What twisted patterns shaped his behavior? And how did he manipulate the world around him to fulfill his darkest desires? This is the story they don't want you to know. The early years creating a predator. Jeffrey Epstein was born in 1953 to working-class parents in Brooklyn, New York. His father worked as a groundskeeper, and his mother was a homemaker. On the surface, nothing in his early life screamed future predator. In fact, by all accounts, he was described as quiet, somewhat nerdy, and academically gifted. So gifted, in fact, that he skipped both the 3rd and 8th grades, graduating high school at just 16 years old. This academic acceleration may have planted the seeds for what psychologists now identify as one of Epstein's defining characteristics: emotional immaturity trapped in a brilliant mind. While his intellectual development raced ahead, his emotional and social development lagged behind. This disconnect would later manifest in disturbing ways, as Epstein consistently sought out victims who were in the same emotional maturity as himself. But here's where things get interesting. Unlike many predators, there are no records of childhood antisocial behavior, no torturing animals, no setting fires, none of the classic warning signs. Young Jeffrey maintained friendships, appeared well-adjusted, and showed no external signs of the monster he would become. This absence of early warning signs makes Epstein an anomaly in criminal psychology. It suggests either exceptional control and calculation from an early age, or a transformation triggered by something else entirely: the intoxicating effects of unchecked power and wealth. The rise from math teacher to mysterious millionaire. After briefly attending college but never graduating, Epstein landed a teaching job at the prestigious Dalton School in Manhattan. Despite lacking proper credentials, he somehow convinced the administration he was qualified to teach mathematics to the children of New York's elite. It was here where he made a lot of his connections. It was also when the first red flags appeared. Rumors circulated about inappropriate relationships with teenage students. One former student later recalled him as creepy and noted his tendency to linger around teenage girls. Though never formally documented, it's believed Epstein was ultimately dismissed from Dalton, though he would later claim he simply quit. But before leaving, Epstein made a connection that would change everything. During a parent-teacher conference, he impressed Alan Ace Greenberg, the CEO of investment bank Bear Stearns. Despite having no financial experience or college degree, Epstein was hired at the firm. This pattern of failing upward through powerful connections rather than merit would define Epstein's entire career. By age 25, he was a limited partner at Bear Stearns. When he later left under a cloud of alleged insider trading, it barely slowed his ascent. The most mysterious chapter in Epstein's rise involves his relationship with billionaire retail magnate Leslie Wexner, founder of The Limited. and he later acquired Victoria's Secret. In an arrangement financial experts still struggle to explain, Wexner signed over power of attorney to Epstein, giving him control of a $4.8 billion fortune. This allowed Epstein to acquire his $78 million New York mansion from Wexner for literally $0, earn over $400 million through his association with Wexner, use the Victoria's Secret connection to lure aspiring models by claiming to be a recruiter. The source of Epstein's wealth has long been questioned. While he claimed to manage money for billionaires, requiring a minimum $1 billion investment, no major client other than Wexner has ever been identified. Many financial experts now believe Epstein's financial management business was largely a front for something far more sinister. The network, collecting power and influence. Epstein's genius wasn't in making money, it was in collecting people. Through his relationship with British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, daughter of media mogul Robert Maxwell, he gained access to the highest echelons of society. Maxwell was more than just Epstein's girlfriend. She became his chief enabler and co-conspirator. According to victim testimony, she personally recruited and groomed young girls, sometimes participating in the abuse herself. Their partnership began around 1994 when Maxwell found herself financially vulnerable, following her father's mysterious death and the revelation of his massive financial crimes. Together, they cultivated an extraordinary network of powerful connections. Donald Trump maintained a 17-year friendship with Epstein, once hosting a party at Mar-a-Lago with only himself, Epstein, and 28 female models. Trump famously remarked that Epstein was a terrific guy who liked women on the younger side. Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's private jet, nicknamed the Lolita Express, at least 26 times. Clinton's information in Epstein's Black Book contained over 20 different phone numbers. Though never accused of participating in abuse, Virginia Roberts, one of Epstein's key victims, confirmed seeing Clinton on Epstein's private island. Epstein's connections extended to royalty, including Prince Andrew, who was photographed with his arm around 17-year-old Virginia Roberts. According to Roberts, Epstein and Maxwell instructed her to entertain the prince. But perhaps most disturbing was Epstein's infiltration of scientific and academic circles. Despite his lack of credentials, he donated millions to universities and research institutions, contributed $6.5 million to Harvard's program for evolutionary dynamics, maintained relationships with Nobel Prize winners, including Stephen Hawking, who visited his private island. Epstein even planned to use his New Mexico ranch as a baby farm, where he would impregnate 20 women with his DNA to improve humanity. These connections weren't just for show. They were a calculated strategy to accumulate power, prestige, and protection. The psychology inside a predator's mind. What was happening inside Jeffrey Epstein's mind? Clinical analysis reveals a complex psychological profile that helps explain how he operated for so long without consequences. Examining Epstein through the lens of the Hare psychopathy checklist reveals strong evidence of classic psychopathic traits: grandiose self-worth, lack of remorse, callous lack of empathy, and sexual promiscuity. What's unique is that Epstein displayed primary psychopathy, characterized by superficial charm, shallow affect, and calculated manipulation, rather than the impulsive, reckless behavior seen in secondary psychopaths. This explains his careful, patient approach to building his criminal enterprise. Unlike impulsive predators who get caught early, Epstein waited until he had accumulated sufficient power, wealth, and connections before escalating his criminal behavior. Each step was calculated for maximum reward, with minimum risk. Epstein meets the criteria for both narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder. His narcissism manifested in grandiose fantasies of power and influence, which he largely achieved. He also displayed the classic narcissistic pattern of initial charm followed quickly by domination and control. What's particularly disturbing is how Epstein used psychological tactics to manipulate his victims. He would identify vulnerable girls, often from broken homes or financial instability, and make them dependent on his resources. He paid for their schooling, housing, and other needs, creating conflicting feelings in victims who didn't want to be abused, but valued what he provided. This psychological entrapment extended to his employees as well. Many staff members later admitted they knew about the abuse, but felt powerless to stop it, fearing they would lose their livelihoods or face retaliation. Epstein's case demonstrates the extreme danger of allowing individuals with severe narcissistic and antisocial traits to accumulate unlimited power and resources. With each success, his sense of invincibility grew, allowing him to operate with increasing boldness. From a psychological perspective, Jeffrey Epstein represents the perfect storm. A brilliant but emotionally stunted mind, combined with psychopathic traits, sexual deviance, and the corrupting influence of unlimited wealth and power. His case serves as a chilling reminder that the most dangerous predators aren't hiding in shadows. They're hosting parties with presidents, princes, and Nobel laureates. The question isn't just how Epstein became the monster he was, but how our society created the perfect environment for him to thrive, and how many others like him still walk free today, protected by the same system of wealth, power, and connections. If you found this video intriguing, wait till you hear about the conspiracies regarding Epstein's death, the newly surfaced disturbing details about his island, and the legacy he left behind. Let us know in the comments if we should make a part 2 covering these topics. And don't forget to check out episode 2 of our Celebrity Predators series, where we uncovered the fucked up story of R. Kelly's life, revealing the truth and the trauma he went through in his childhood that shaped him to be the monster he is today. Watch it now, before they try to take it down. As always, stay safe and lock your doors.